We observe today not a victory of party, but a celebration of freedom, symbolizing an end as well as a beginning, signifying renewal as well as change.
63 years ago, a new administration promised a new era for a new generation.
And that's what I see has been passed down from that generation to children and grandchildren is sort of a commitment and a feeling that they'd been, for the first time, really part of something bigger than themselves.
And in 1963, President John F. Kennedy's final year in office, he paved the way forward on a path to progress.
No problem of human destiny is beyond human beings. Man's reason and spirit have often solved the seemingly unsolvable, and we believe they can do it again.
At home, protests around the country exploded, fueled by a long history of racial prejudice and division.
At that moment, President Kennedy stood firmly against white supremacist leaders and policies that wished to keep an entire population of Americans as second-class citizens.
We face, therefore, a moral crisis as a country and a people. It cannot be met by repressive police action. It cannot be left to increase demonstrations in the streets. It cannot be quieted by token moves or talk.
Abroad, Kennedy stood firm for the free world against the threat of communism and the Iron Curtain of the Soviet Union that was falling over Eastern Europe and other parts of the world.
All free men, wherever they may live, are citizens of Berlin. And therefore, as a free man, I take pride in the word, Ich bin ein Berliner.
But at a time where the threat of nuclear war with the Soviet Union loomed large, Kennedy found ways to keep the peace between the world's two superpowers.
President Kennedy's public rhetoric about the Soviets in 1963 created space for future presidents to seek coexistence with Moscow.
1963 would also be a homecoming for a president who traced his roots back to the newly independent nation of Ireland.
This is not the land of my birth, but it's the land for which I hold the greatest affection. And I certainly will come back in the springtime. Thank you.
But that spring reunion would never be realized, as events that November would change the course of history.
President Kennedy is dead. The President of the United States was shot down by an assassin's bullet.
And he is a young man, and his life is cut short. That so many people grieve the loss of youth symbolically and really wish he could have lived a full life to see what happened. I think he's sort of frozen in time in that way.
This season, we remember President Kennedy and his legacy 60 years later.
All this will not be finished in the first 100 days, nor will it be finished in the first 1,000 days, nor in the life of this administration, nor even perhaps in our lifetime on this planet. But let us begin.
The new season begins on October 12th.